Understanding the Zombie Teen's Body Clock. Text 3, page 16. Understanding the Zombie Teen's Body Clock by Sue Schellenbarger. I'm going to be leaving some words out. This is called a close reading. Please follow along carefully and say the word that I leave out. Many parents know the scene. The groggy, sleep-deprived teenager stumbles through breakfast and falls asleep over afternoon homework, only to spring to life, wide-eyed and alert, at 10 p.m., just as mom and dad are nodding off. Nodding off means falling asleep.
Okay, now let's read this again together. Many parents know the scene. The groggy, sleep-deprived teenager stumbles through breakfast and falls asleep over afternoon homework, only to spring to life, wide-eyed and alert at 10 p.m., just as mom and dad are nodding off. Good.
Fortunately for parents, science has gotten more sophisticated at explaining why, starting at puberty, a teen's internal sleep-wake clock seems to go off the rails, like a train driving off track, off the rails. Researchers are also connecting the dots between the resulting sleep loss and behavior long chalked up to just being a teenager. This includes more risk-taking, less self-control, a drop in school performance, and a rise in the incidence of depression. One 2010 study from the University of British Columbia, for example, found that sleep loss can hamper neuron growth in the brain during adolescence, a critical period for cognitive development. Everyone say cognitive development.
Cognitive development.
Findings linking sleep loss to adolescent turbulence are really revelatory, says Michael Terman, a professor of clinical psychology and psychiatry at Columbia University Medical Center and co-author of Chronotherapy, a forthcoming book on resetting the body clock. These are reactions to a basic change in the way teens' physiology and behavior is organized. Despite such revelations, there are still no clear solutions for the teen zombie syndrome. Dun, dun, dun.
And doesn't he look like a zombie? So what effect does sleep loss have on the brain? What effect does sleep loss have on the brain? It can damage or limit, hamper neuron growth. Okay, so it can make you less smart. Risk-taking, less self-control, doing more poorly in school, and depression. Okay, teen zombie syndrome.
Should a parent try to enforce strict wake-up and bedtimes, even though they conflict with the teen's body clock? Or try to create a workable sleep schedule around the natural cycle, coupled with a trend toward pre-dawn school start times and peer pressure to socialize online into the wee hours. The result can upset kids' health, school performance, and family peace. Jeremy Kern, 16 years old, of San Diego, gets up at 6:30 a.m. for school and tries to fall asleep by 10 p.m. But a heavy load of homework and extracurricular activities, including playing saxophone in his school marching band and in a theater orchestra, often keeps him up later. I need 10 hours of sleep to not feel tired, and every single day I have to deal with being exhausted, Jeremy says. He stays awake during early afternoon classes, quote, by sheer force of will. And as research shows, sleep loss makes him more emotionally volatile. Volatile means likely to blow up. Emotionally volatile.
Like a volcano.
Jeremy says, like when he recently broke up with his girlfriend. You are more irrational when you're sleep deprived. Your emotions are much harder to control. Only 7.6% of teens get the recommended 9 to 10 hours of sleep. 23.5% get 8 hours, and 38.7% are seriously sleep deprived at 6 or fewer hours a night, says a 2011 study by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, which is called the CDC.
Okay, let's pause there for a second. So only 7.6% of teens get 9 to 10 hours. Raise your hand if that's you. Do you get 9 to 10 hours of sleep? Well, you are among the very top elite sleepers in your age group. Good for you. Okay, and then a large chunk get 8 hours. Who here gets a good 8 hours of sleep every night? Good for you. 38.7%, that's a larger percentage, almost half, are seriously sleep deprived at 6 hours or less a night. All right, who's sleeping less than 6 hours a night? Oh, poor thing.
DC. It's a biological 1-2-3 punch. Read that sentence. It's a biological 1-2-3 punch. First, the onset of puberty brings a median 1.5-hour delay in the body's release of the sleep-inducing hormone melatonin, says Dr. Mary Karskeden, a professor of psychiatry and human behavior at the Brown University Medical School and a leading sleep researcher. Second, sleep pressure, or the buildup of the need to sleep as the day wears on, slows during adolescence. That is, kids don't become sleepy as early. This sleep delay isn't just a passing impulse, it continues to increase through adolescence, peaking at age 19.5 in girls and age 20.9 in boys, Dr. Karskeden's research shows. Finally, teens lose some of their sensitivity to morning light, the kind that spurs or gets you going, that spurs awakening and alertness. And they become more reactive to nighttime light, sparking activity later into the evening. Dr. Karskeden says letting teens set their own schedules can lead to a downward spiral. Teens left to their own devices tend to cycle later, soaking up stimulating light from their computers or cell phones, This can further delay sleep by 2.5 to 3 hours. Many parents feel defeated by school's early start times. More than half of public high schools start before 8 a.m., according to a 2011 Brookings Institution study. Maya Zimmerman's first class is at 7:20 a.m., and when I wake up in the morning, I literally want to die, says the 16-year-old Falls Church, Virginia high school junior. I feel like it's the middle of the night, and I don't feel like eating cereal. Mrs. Zimmerman, Ms. Zimmerman, says she battles, what's that word? Fatigue. She battles fatigue in class and often nods off while doing homework after school. More than 35 schools or school districts in at least 21 states have delayed start times in recent years to allow teens to sleep longer, according to reports gathered by advocates. In Wake County, North Carolina, where school start times were changed several times over a 7-year period, a 1-hour delay was linked to an increase of 3 percentile points in middle school students' math and reading scores, according to a study published earlier this year in the Economics of Education Review. Many schools, however, have rejected parental pressure to delay school start times, citing bus cost savings, or the need to keep afternoons open for teens' sports or other activities. Sleep loss is linked in research to decreases in memory, attention, and academic performance. Impaired functioning of the prefrontal cortex, which helps regulate sleep, has been detected in youngsters with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Sleep-deprived teens are more likely to feel sad or hopeless, or to seriously consider suicide, according to a 2011 study by the CDC. A study published earlier this year by Dr. Karskinen and others links sleep deprivation in college freshmen to the expression of genetic factors linked to depression. Still, most teens resist parents setting bedtimes. Peer pressure plays a role. Teens with a friend who sleeps less than 7 hours a night are 11% more likely to sleep less than 7 hours themselves, says a 2010 study in the science journal PLOS ONE. Claude Albertario of Oceanside, New York, says his 15-year-old daughter, Rihanna, stays up much too late, leaving her TV on through the night, no matter my yelling. Rihanna says she isn't sleepy until after midnight and usually falls asleep at 1 a.m. or 1:30 a.m., just 5 hours before she has to get up for school. She claims her TV helps her sleep by masking nighttime noises around the house. An argument that does work with Rihanna, citing research linking sleep loss in teens to obesity and other health problems. Knowing that more sleep will help keep her skin clear and avoid gaining weight motivates me more, says Rihanna, who is trying gradually to move her bedtime up to midnight.
Okay, and let's look back at some questions we missed. Okay, so here we're talking about Jeremy Kern, 16 years old, who says how tired he is. What keeps Jeremy Kern from getting enough sleep? Let's go back to the text and find that evidence. What keeps him from getting enough sleep? See it? Okay. Homework and extracurricular activities keep Jeremy Kern from getting enough sleep. Now you say it. Okay. How does puberty affect sleep in adolescence? How does puberty affect sleep in adolescence? Let's find it. So we found the bold word puberty. So the beginning of puberty brings an average 1.5-hour delay in the body's release of sleep-inducing hormone melatonin. So in other words, with puberty, you get sleepy an hour and a half later than you used to. So puberty makes teens feel sleepy an hour and a half later. You try it. Puberty makes teens feel sleepy an hour and a half later. On this page, page 18, how many schools or school districts have delayed school start times? So let's find that. Okay. So more than 35 schools or school districts have delayed school start times. Now you try it. More than 35 schools or school districts have delayed school start times. Okay, page 19. How are sleep-deprived teens likely to feel? How are they likely to feel? Where did we see feelings? Oh, feel. Okay. Sleep-deprived teens are likely to feel sad, hopeless, or suicidal. You try it. Sleep-deprived teens are likely to feel sad, hopeless, or suicidal. Great.